I didn't know you did that too. I didn't know you did that too.
This is what I like. Okay, great. I am going to interrupt everyone to welcome you all to the kitchen bar at Chef and the Farmer. This is something that we have been doing here for 2.5 years. Really, I started doing it in November, 2 Novembers ago, whatever year that was, because honestly, I needed to earn some money to cover the expenses of this 10,000 square foot building and the small staff that I wanted to keep while I figured out what was next for this place. And you know, if you're here, you probably know that this is like my first child, and I've been through a lot of emotions and relationships with it. But I feel like from this, as I said, I started doing it because I needed to earn money, and then I kept doing it because I just got a lot out of it, personally and professionally and creatively. And I've learned, I'm 48 years old, but I've just learned in the last like 2 or 3 years what I like and what I don't. And I've learned that I really like projects that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's why I love writing books. That's why I have enjoyed making seasons of a TV show. That's why Theodosia in the Outer Banks was appealing to me because it's seasonal. I love the opportunity to build, do, and reflect. And so these kitchen bars, I approach much like that. So thank y'all for being here and allowing me to keep kind of reimagining my career on my own crazy terms. I will say that when I first started doing this, my parents, they're always, I think one of the reasons I've been very successful is because my parents never really believed in me.
Did you give them reason for that?
You noticed you said that when they weren't here.
No, they always said they did, but I always wanted to prove to them that, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. But, so when I started doing these, my dad said, you think anybody's going to come? And I knew that for at least 6 months we would be very busy and people would come because there's enough people that just wanted to see what this was like. But one of the things that's been really amazing to my dad and to all of us is that we've had so many repeat people who have come every season, some folks who've come every single month. So this is meant to feel not like a fancy dinner, but more like a dinner party that you would never throw yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I love about it is I get to celebrate the month that is at hand. Before we talk about that, though, I'm going to introduce my team.
Okay.
I have behind you and Jennifer in the earth tones. And Jennifer actually, she's the director of operations in many parts of my life. She used to be my kid's nanny, and she managed the counter, she manages this, and she brought Monica into my world, and we've reopened Chef and the Farmer in this way. This has inspired what we're doing on a weekly basis, and they're the helm of things. Over here, I have little LA, we used to call her Little Angie. Her mother, Big Angie, who I think is actually smaller than she is, has worked with me for 19 years here. And she's right there. I didn't you kind of turned around, you were there. So yeah, so Angie and I have kind of grown up together. And if you ever ate at Chef and the Farmer, or actually I grew up, she was already grown up, but we're basically the same age and have worked together for a long time. And if you ever had anything at Chef and the Farmer that was precise and made by hand, or even the boiler room, she did it. So I'm very grateful to have her as a part of my restaurant and extended family. These folks are going to be your culinary team. We have Allie and Eric, and they are like, they spearhead Chef and the Farmer on the regular basis. You know, finding people who are talented and skilled and who want to work in a restaurant like this in Eastern North Carolina has always been the biggest challenge.
Sure.
And so when people like them come into my world and I'm able to keep people like her, it's like I feel like we're succeeding. So if anybody ever asks you what success in a restaurant feels like, it's like having people that can do their job and you enjoy working with them. So thank you all. So tonight, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain the first 3 courses, and then we'll turn the music back on and the fan back on, and then everybody, y'all will eat, and you're welcome to talk to us, ask us questions, take pictures. People, I'm not doing this for my health. Although it's probably been good for it. You know, April's interesting because we are all seeing spring in our hearts, but it's just the very beginning of things coming out of the ground. And truthfully, tonight I thought really the only very springy things we're going to have to work with were some lettuces and some scallions and some radishes, because that's really early April. But I went to Warren's today to get those spring onions, and he's like, yeah, I just cut a little bit of asparagus. And I was like, can I have it? And he looked at me, you know, I used to, Warren's farm was mine. And, you know, things have changed over the years. And I was like, can I have it? Can I have it? And he looked at me, he's like, for old time's sake. And I tell y'all, it made me cry. It really did. It really did. So this is very special asparagus tonight. He had just cut it. It's the first of the season. And he was telling me that, you know, he has 3 different plots. I was asked, because I would theoretically like to plant some crowns this year. And he said that the older the plot gets, the bigger the fatter the asparagus, which is not what I would have expected. And so this comes from his oldest trench of asparagus, which is, he said, 14 years old now. And he said he keeps waiting for it to time out, as he said, but it's still the most prolific. So we're gonna have an asparagus salad tonight. It's raw asparagus, sliced very into coins, and it's gonna be tossed with toasted hazelnuts, Parmesan cheese, lots of lemon zest, lemon juice, some dry breadcrumbs that are going to absorb all the liquids. And it's just a very simple, bright, lots of mint. Mint's going to really make this, mint is kind of what makes it for me, and some bronze fennel on top. This is going to be a very springy, bright taste. So then the second course, people are always asking me to serve scallops, and I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's some scallops. I don't know if y'all have been to places like this, but growing up, we would go to restaurants that were fancy restaurants, and they would always have like bacon wrapped scallops, and they would be, you know, like the scallops. Now that I know what I know, the scallops would be like so overcooked. It's like, you know, like the muscle that attaches it to the shell. And that's because bacon takes a lot longer to cook than the scallop. But I just do kind of love that idea. So this dish is a play on both bacon wrapped scallops and a BLT. So we have this really beautiful romaine. Like, this is the perfect time for lettuce out of the year. You know, it's still kind of chilly, so it has some oomph to it. And the scallions, as I mentioned before, so we charred the long pieces of scallion and then wrapped it around the scallops, and then we're going to sear those, and then that'll be next to a little set of roasted cherry tomatoes and bacon that we're going to wilt very briefly. We're going to wilt some of that romaine with it, and I don't know if y'all have ever had wilted romaine, but it's actually very tasty. And if you do it right, hopefully we will. It's going to have like texture and like a vitamin C kind of flavor that a lot of greens don't have. And then you'll have a little saucy component there that is a charred scallion aioli. Then the third course, I love I love to make pasta. I love to cook pasta. As I said, I started doing these kitchen bars because I was trying to earn money, and so I did not invest in any equipment. So we've not had a pasta maker. We used to have one, but I sent it to Benny's in Wilmington. So I didn't want to invest in that, but in opening the new Chef and the Farmer, I thought that a pasta dish was. I think that's my phone. Oh well. Anyway, so I invested in a pasta machine. So tonight you're going to have a fresh-made duck tagliatelle, and we made a spiced duck ragu with like allspice and cinnamon. It's going to look like a bolognese, but it's going to have like a more umami kind of gamey flavor. But it's very, very delicious. So those are going to be your first 3 courses tonight, and we'll get started. And thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For our last, I'm going to talk about the last 2 savory courses and the first 2 only 2 desserts.
Hey, I'm excited. There's 2 desserts. Let's go.
Yes. Well, I'll get to my thought process there in a second. So, people often ask me how I get inspiration for dishes, and often that has been like through community cookbooks, or often it's the weirdest things. But this next dish you're going to have, a few weeks ago I went out to dinner with my son to a Mexican restaurant that was just honestly not that great. It was not here, but we went, but we had a nice time, and he got something that, he got this walking taco, which obviously I've seen before. It's, like in a Frito bag, and it's like spicy chili on top of the Fritos, and then they put some, like guacamole, they put some creamy stuff on there, and I tried to make the most out of everything, so the meal was not that great. And I was like, you know what, I've got a great idea that is going to come out of this. So I thought I could do the same thing with pork rinds, and with my kind of bourbon braised pork, and then some regionally specific peas, and then buttermilk creme fraiche, and the herbs that make sense here, and so that's what you're having. But we've also introduced some Funyuns in there. And so this is like a really, really fun dish that we're hoping to serve as a bar snack. Like you sit at the bar, you can get this in a little bag. But the reason that we turned toward Funyuns is because I was hell bent on having this in a bag, like the Fritos bag. But all of the pork rind bags are either like, we got our pork rinds from this guy across the road at the farmer's market who fries them, and he puts them in a Ziploc bag, and I'm like, we can't put this in hot. So Funyuns became a thing, and they actually, I think, have made it a lot better. So you've got this Funyun pork rind pie, followed by, I've always kind of done at these dinners like a riff on a steak and a potato. But with the introduction of the pasta, like, I'm trying to make things a little bit lighter. And the reason I have done the steak and potato thing is because when I was getting ready to open this place, and my parents were involved but trying not to be involved, you know how that is. And like from the very beginning, they really wanted, they thought fine dining, they thought like steak and baked potato, and I'd already like through many family meetings said, that's not what we're doing. We'll just have to wait and see what we're doing. Just wait. And so then when it was middle of construction and my parents came in and my mother saw this kitchen bar, and she threw her hands on it and she said, thank God there's going to be a salad bar. So at that moment I said, I will never serve a steak or a baked potato or any of those salads like that here. And I eventually ate my words, and because honestly, if you were to interview me today and ask what my last meal would be, it would be some version of that. So tonight we're gonna have a very beautiful New York strip that we butchered to look like a fillet, kind of. You saw her searing those here. So we take all of the fat cap and the sinew off of it and cut into long strips. And so we'll slice that like a roast, and it's gonna be over a bright, springy salad that's dressed with nak cham, a nak cham butterbean marinade, and it'll be over a little peanut sauce. So it'll be steak and roots.
Yeah. Let's go.
And then for dessert, yes, I feel strongly. I've never been a big dessert person, but I like very tart, bright things at the end of the meal. And they say that there's a chocolate person and a lemon person in every relationship. So we try to touch both sensors. Although we don't have chocolate tonight, but I try to do a light dessert and a heavier one. I love to do the carrot cake during April because it feels like that's what bunnies eat and it's Easter. So we're starting with buttermilk sorbet, which is my favorite thing of all time. It's tart, refreshing. It's going to wake your palate up. We're going to have some macerated strawberries, first of the season, on top of there. And then after that, you'll have our carrot cake that's kind of become... We served it here for years, but no one kind of put this together. When I started serving it in Charleston, people were like, oh, this tastes like tiramisu. Because it's carrot cake that we brush with espresso syrup, and then we do a coffee cream cheese icing, and then you're going to have like a frangelico whipped cream with it and some toasted almonds. So oddly enough, it does all kind of come together tasting like an American tiramisu.
Yay.
Fine. So anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed everything so far.
Yes.
The first 3 courses were.
Yes.
Very good.
That was a golf clap. This is amazing.